Good morning and welcome to today's live stream. Looking at the chat, we've got Blonde Scales 1, hello from Arkansas, welcome to you. Just leave it a couple of minutes for other people to join, then we'll make a kick-off. Been an interesting week this week. The weather's been warming up, so starting to get a little bit nicer. I can still sit with my t-shirt on, which is good. Although I've got a jumper just handy, just in case. So hopefully I won't be needing to put that on. Made a little bit of a change to my lighting at the moment. I'm just playing around with things. Main reason I've done it is I've noticed when I've been doing my writing samples, let me just switch over to the phone for a second on here. This is getting really overexposed. So I thought, let's try doing something different. It looks white on the screen when I look at this paper, but it's actually a cream colour. So I think I need to try and tweak around with the camera a little bit that I use for that. So that's to come. Let's switch back to my camera before I fetch in the script. Okay, where are we going? So what I thought would do today is, a couple of weeks ago, I did the thing where randomly there was chosen a pen case, and I went through that pen case describing, my thoughts on the pens that were in there. I've worked it out. I've got about 18 cases. So if we do one roughly every couple of weeks, it'll take about a year to get through it, in which case, hopefully by then I'll have some more pens. So I thought we'll do the same thing again here. So what I'm going to ask is one person to say left or right. So left or right, and then another person, a number between 1 and 10. I'm going to take the first one that I see in the comments from each of them. So Blonde Scales 1 supposed to get a cool down this week and a better chance of rain. I don't know if it's the state being the same in various places in the States, but I know in the UK they've had like a little mini heat wave. My daughter was telling me. Apparently it's been a bit warm. I think she said it got to something like 26, and I was thinking, 26, that's not even spring. Marie, hi from Michigan, welcome to you. So I'm looking in the comments for left or for right. And then a number between 1 and 10. Just gonna, yeah, there. So we've got a number 9, so then I just need left or right. This is one of the things, I don't know if you notice, I keep rubbing my hands together. I don't know what to do with my hands when I'm doing these streams. When I'm recording, it's all off camera, so you don't really see it. But I'm very much a talking with your hands person. So right and number 9. So right, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, this one might be a bit of a quick one. There's not many pens in this at the moment. So we've picked here, this is a case from China. And what this is just assorted manufacturers that don't fit in with some of the ones where I've got multiple pens. And not sure if you can see that. We've got 4 pens in there, loads of spaces for more pens. I'll have to work on filling them up. So we'll take a look. First one is, I should have put 9 in right up. Mr. Scribbleman, welcome from Michigan. Glad you could join us. So yeah, Fully Wen 017. This is quite a pretty pen. I've done a bit of digging. There's actually quite a few Fully Wen pens out there. It's got its own website. But what I did notice when I went to their website, it's very, 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 very slow. Really, it's one of the slowest websites I've been to. Once you get to see the pens, there are loads of different types. So that it's something I do want to get some more Fully Wen pens. Just haven't got around to it. This one, it comes with a number 6 nib. Hopefully that will focus on that nib. Let me try to put my hand behind it. And it's a cartridge converter. There we go. No ink in it, obviously, at the moment. It's a pretty pen. It's quite a in-your-face pen. It's not a pen for taking to business meetings, or certainly not for me. Fits nice in the hand. Section, just about right. Just about the right size for me. And it does post, and it posts not too badly. He says tipping it over when it's over his laptop. Maybe that's not a good idea, Gary. So that's a fully Wen 017. Next up is the Asvine V169. This is in like the greeny colour. Weighty pen. Quite a bit of weight to that pen. It's another nice pen though. I love the metal on it. It looks really nice. Now, I've seen conflicting reports. Somewhere it did say that these patterns are meant to be fairly unique. They're meant to be random. But I've seen other ones where they've had multiples and they look virtually identical. So not 100% certain how true that randomness is. Lovely green material. I'm not sure if the green material is coming through there. You can see that there. The green material, it's transparent, so you can actually see through, which is a good job because this one is a vacuum filler. That's why it's the V169. So there's the plunger coming up. Then as we're going on down, we'll get near the bottom. The inside then widens out a bit, and then it will pop, and that's what draws the ink up into there. I've got the cap on a bit too tight. Again, we've got a number 6 size nib. This is a medium nib. I'll compare the two in a minute, Mr. Teresa, hi Gary, BJ, hello all. Mr. Scribbleman, looks a bit like my Ranga Model 5. The Ranga is a bit bigger. That's the fully Wen I'm assuming you're talking about. So I'll just finish off with this. That's the Asvine. What I'm going to just do is just scoot off. So here's the fully Wen. Here's a Ranga Model 5. Massive difference. It might be better. Let me just go to the overhead camera. Let me just clear some room. I can show this better on the overhead camera. All right, there we go. Let's swap on over. I've just had to move everything out of the way. So there's a fully Wen. And here's the Ranga Model 5. The Ranga is a big pen. It's actually one of my favourite pens though, for all the size of it. Yeah, so it is a lot bigger. Right, so just fetch these back in. We'll go back to the camera. Sorry, I had my pen case there, which is why I had to move it out of the way so we could actually see that comparison. I keep sliding down my chair today. Right, next up, we've got a couple of pens from Baoer, B-A-O-E-R. The first one, actually go for this one. The first one is the Model 51. I will be honest, I've only inked this up once. My wife gave it to me, I think it was actually a couple of years ago, as part of the ink vent. And it's like a lot of my Chinese pens, they go into the case and I don't use them very often, which is a bit of a shame because, I mean, this is nice. It's got mainly like silver colour. Then we've got black and silver pinstripes here on the body. Hopefully the light will catch that. And here we go with the nib. It's a smallish nib. I would say it's a number 5-ish size. Cartridge converter. It was a quite inexpensive pen. I want to say it was under $10. That's Aussie dollars. The section, bit on the thin side. Pen itself, not too bad. It does post quite securely as well. Doesn't make it feel too long. Unposted, I do feel it does feel a little bit on the short side. And I think that's why I don't use it that often, because I like to use my pens unposted. And then the final one from this tray, it was a quick tray. This is again a Baoer. This is 79. I love this check pattern. I don't know why, but when I see this, it reminds me of Tron, the original film Tron, where they were going, and it just reminds me of when they were in the like the virtual world, where you had but there it was like green rather than the silver that we've got here. Take the cap off again. It's a smallish nib. I think it's virtually identical nib to what's on the 51. And again, cartridge converter. Another pen under 10 Aussie dollars. And there we go. As you see, very, very thin. This one doesn't seem to post when you put it on, but if you screw it, it actually screws on the end, so you've got a very, very tight posted. And unposted, this is how I ended up using this. Sorry, not unposted, posted. I ended up using that. So that's the Bauer 51. 79. So that was right tray number 9. Put that one away. Let's go back and we'll look at the comments. Mr. Scribbleman, exactly. This is where I'm assuming talking about the Ranger and the Fully Wen. Creamy J, what's your favourite type of pen? That's interesting. I think I'm torn. I like piston fillers. I especially like piston fillers that are transparent so you can see the ink sloshing around. That's the beauty with something like the Eco. I'm going to fetch here. This is the Twisby Diamond 580 piston filler, and you can see the ink sloshing around in there. I love that. You know, it's got a nice tactileness to it, but it's got this visual interest, and I think that can be quite interesting. I do like piston fillers generally because you can get a decent amount of ink in it. Converters, not too bad, but the problem is once you've got ink in there, you don't really, seem to get a lot of writing from it. I normally find I'll get maybe a day or two out of a converter, whereas with a piston filler, I can get a couple of weeks. Oh, sorry. So yeah, I would say piston filler is my favourite type of pen, and transparent ones are demonstrator ones. Teresa, I only have one vacuum filler, a Narwhal that works just fine. I don't know why, but vacuum pens make me nervous. I've got a number of vacuums. My most expensive pen, the Pilot Custom 823, obviously that's a vacuum. My biggest concern with certainly with the 823, is cleaning it, because it's a pain in the butt to clean. And then I've heard horror stories of people taking it apart, so I don't want to even risk that. The amount of money that pen costs, if I end up messing it up, I would be doing more than cry, I can tell you. Most of my most of my vacuum fillers now, what I actually tend to do is I don't really use the vacuum as much to fill it. Reason for this, most of my bottles are the small 30ml diamine bottles, and a lot of the vacuum fillers, they just don't fit through the hole. I can't show you it today. Hopefully it'll arrive during the week so I can show on next week's live stream. A store over here in Australia, they got the ink misers back in stock this week, so as soon as I got the email saying that they had them, I went and ordered some. So hopefully they should be arriving soon. Once I've got the ink miser, then I may use the vacuum filling a little bit more often. But what I tend to do now is I actually unscrew the section and use a blunt nose syringe to fill them. So I do that with my... have I got one here? No, I don't have one. I do that with the Asvine that I've just shown. I also do that with... what's the name of the pen? I can see it. I can see it in my mind, but I can't remember its name. No, it's gone. It's another vacuum filler anyway. I just unscrew the end and do that. Horace, absolutely love pens. Completely with you there. I think it's, my poor son, he's 26. I've said this story before. Let me just grab it. He describes this as being the greatest pen in the world, the good standard Bic Biro. Yes, I do have one handy all the time because sometimes you need to have that horrible pen, let's be honest. I've also got pencils in there. But yeah, with you there, absolutely love them. Dia, welcome from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. I can't remember. I've never been to Canada. Never even been to the US, to be honest. But when I was in university, I shared a house with a guy who was from Vancouver. He was quite an interesting character. Creamy J feels sorry for people before the pen was invented. Am I right? Well, yes and no. I have done a video on my other channel where I did look a little bit at the history of fountain pens. And they've been around for thousands of years. I can't remember the exact dates off the top of my head. I'd have to dig into my research. But they've certainly found them going back to the 800s, and I think they've found them from BC as well. I don't know. I mean, they're nice, but, and this is what I keep saying whenever I do most of my videos, what matters is that the pen or the pencil, whatever you're using, lets you get ideas out of your head and onto paper, and in a way that you enjoy, and in a way that you enjoy. I can't talk today. So that's where, that big biro, my son enjoys using it. It lets me get ideas out of his head and onto paper. I think he's mental, but that's down to him. But yeah, I know what you're on about. The pleasure that fountain pens can give. And certainly when I got back into fountain pens about 3 years ago, when I first used them, the only real fountain pens I knew of, you had Parker. And that was it really. Virtually all were Parker pens, certainly where I used to get them, and that was from W.H. Smith's in the UK. I'm going back more than a couple of years here. And it was things like the Parker Frontier. They were, silver-coloured tubes that you put ink in. Sorry. Today's mug, by the way, we've got Star Wars, we've got the original trilogy, the only true trilogy, really. There we go. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but Star Wars is one of the first films I can remember going to see in the cinema. I can't 100% say it was my first one, but there's 3 of them, and I'm not sure which one it was. It was Star Wars, there was James Bond, The Spy Who Loved Me, and the other one was Jaws. It was one of those 3 was the first one that I saw. But I can remember, I must have been about 7 or 8 years old at the time. Blonde Scales 1 doesn't have any vacuum fillers yet. I think they're all right. My Pilot Custom 823, absolutely love it. Pain in the butt to fill at the moment because, as I say, a lot of my inks, that 30ml Diamine bottle, so it's been quite limited. But once I've got the ink miser, I've actually cleaned out the 823 this week, and it'll be getting filled during the week once I've got the ink miser. Actually, that's an idea. What I might do is fill the 823 live on the stream next week. Fill 823 on stream. Because the ink miser should have arrived, so that'd be quite interesting to do. Horace, pens are so versatile. You can write with them, draw with them, suck them, stab them. Yeah, I like the idea, stab with them, yeah. I can remember at school, getting various people would be stabbing you with them. Where I went to school, obviously this was secondary school, which was early 80s. We had most of the teachers used biros, but for history, the history teacher would only allow fountain pens to be used. He had a bottle of Parker Quink ink, so if your pen ran out of ink, you could go and fill it up. His classes actually used to be held in the school library as well, but he was the only teacher where fountain pens had to be used. And I remember he wouldn't mark work that wasn't written in fountain pen. If it was written in biro or pencil, he would literally give you it back unmarked. And I'm glad he did, because that's really what started me going down this idea of fountain pens. I've always used fountain pens since then, but I said they were they were the Parkers, like the Frontier, and there was another model, but I can't remember what it was. It wasn't the Sonnet. It was a cheaper model than the Frontier. But yeah, you can do so much, and I love the ink choice. That's the other thing I like, is, there's so many different colours and different shades of colours that you can get, so you can really customise it. Dia, couldn't agree more. Horace, does the phrase pent-up rage come from not having a pen? I love that idea. Yeah, I can just see that. Yeah, that pent-up rage, because you want to get that idea out of your head and onto paper, and you don't have an enjoyable writing instrument to do it. Matt W. Hi, Chris. Can there be a fountain pencil next, please? Sort of already is. I mean, I'm going to be very, very pushing it here, but Here we are. Diamine Earl Grey in a Waterman Karen there I've got going. That looks like pencil lead to me. Oh, near enough. I wonder if we could twist it to fit that in. Creamy J, I know, right, dear. Chris, I'm late. What did I miss? Oh, you missed loads and loads, mate. You'll have to watch the replay. It's available on replay as soon as we finish. Well, there's loads of comments to go through. Teresa, do I have any Visconti pens? I do. I've got... They're away in a tray at the moment. You'd have to pick the right tray next time we do that, maybe, to see them. But I've got a Visconti Breeze, which was the cheapest Visconti fountain pen I could find. It's all right. It's a bit not the nicest looking pen, but it's all right. Writes really well. I've also got a Visconti Van Gogh in the portrait in blue, or blue portrait. Again, very nice, like it. Now, I don't know why, but I'm seeing one of my previews. I've got that many previews going. There we are. It was showing as if there was some buffering going on. So I've got a Visconti Van Gogh. Smallish pen, quite expensive for what it is, but really nice. And they're both steel nibs, both like virtually the same nib. And I've been lucky, not had any issues with them. I know I've heard of lots of people who have. My current Grail pen that I would love to get, but I don't know if I could ever justify spending that amount of money on it, is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Dark Age. Love the look of that pen. Horace, perhaps you could draw on the stream for us. I'm not a drawer. When I was younger, I could sort of. I used to be able to... what I used to do is draw things like cartoony things. So back when I was young, there was a cartoon called He-Man. Don't know if any of you remember that. But one of the characters was called Orko. I used to love drawing that. Let me just see if I can... another character that I enjoyed drawing, again from a cartoon, was Duckula. I don't know if any of you can remember Duckula. That was an awesome cartoon, really funny. A vegan vampire duck. I thought it was brilliant. Creamy J, how tall am I? 6'3" or 191 centimeters, depending how you measure your height. And compared to my son, I'm short. He's about 6'7" now. Penn or Teller? Don't really watch them that much. I think Teller. I think the way he communicates everything is so good. He doesn't speak. I think that's brilliant, and you still get exactly what he's after. Horace, what's the best pen? Ooh, that's a very, very difficult one. It's a very subjective thing. I'll go back to what I said earlier. The best pen is a pen that lets you get ideas out of your head and onto paper in a way that you enjoy. Now, I'm still seeing a lot of buffering coming through on one of my previews, so hopefully you're not seeing that actually on the stream. Not sure why. I mean, I've got quite a good broadband connection, so it should be coming through fine. Let me just check. It hasn't gone. It does this. No, it's still on my faster network. Dear, indeed, Creamy, the different design smoothness in writing, variety of pens, papers, inks. Yeah, I think that's what's so nice about fountain pens. Horace, pen is great. Mr. Scribbleman, is that a Mont Blanc Skywalker knockoff? It is. That's the Bauer 79, I think it was, the one with the grid. Didn't buy it for that. It was bought because it was just something different. I like to buy different pens every so often. Chris Robinson, replying to Horace, yeah, the best pen is the inked up one in your hand. It's not just with pens. I know I like doing photography, and one of the things that a lot of photographers say is that the best camera is the one that you've got with you. So like here, I'm using my laptop camera, my overhead camera, and the actual camera I used for recording all my videos is an iPhone, just whatever you've got. Mr. Scribbleman, the last one. Creamy J, I love the Eco. Yeah, the Ecos are nice. I've got, I think, 3 of them. Not sure if I'll buy another because the three I've got are all right. I may buy one with maybe a stub nib. I don't have a stub nib in that. But yeah, they're just so versatile and that demonstrator nature. Horace, has a pen ever made you cry? And if so, why? Hasn't made you cry? I think where it would make me cry, I say, it's like with a Pilot Custom 823. If I dropped that and damaged the nib, I think then I would cry. But it's just so more the cost than anything else. Mark, do you know, there's some awesome questions. If you could, what body part would you turn into a pen? That's interesting. I think it would have to be. I'm just doing left and right here. I'm terrible remembering my lefts and my rights. It would have to be my second finger here on my right hand. As you see here, this is the problem with the Waterman Karen. This is the pen I'm using today. I get ink on my finger with this one. Although it looks black, it's actually dark grey. It's Diamine Earl Grey. But yeah, I think that finger, because I'm right-handed, so that would be convenient. But then the problem would be is if I can't cap it, I'll end up stabbing people with it as well. Creamy J, have you ever used a siphon-based bench and pen? No, I haven't. To be honest, it's the first time I've heard the name bench and pen, so I'm just going to make a note of that. Bench and pen research. I'll have a look into that. Matt W, drawing your walls. The colour of my walls, I absolutely hate the colour. I wish I could, but unfortunately we rent, so we can't do anything about that. Horace, this is what I was chuckling at earlier. Not going to lie, Gary. If you took off your glasses, I might just donate. There you are. Look, I'll take off my glasses, but it doesn't improve anything. It just shows you how manky my eyes are. The glasses do at least hide that. But the problem is now I can't read what's on the screen. Smash your flat. Draw. Sorry, not smash. Yeah, I say I'm not very good as a drawer. That's the problem. Gary, if you tried using a Nectar card, bank account tied to your neck. I remember in the UK when we lived there was the Nectar card, which was Sainsbury's supermarket loyalty card. A bank account tied to your neck. Well, aren't they all really? You're all hanging you all them. Creamy J, pencils not allowed? I don't know. I mean, I've got a couple of pencils. So this is a HB. I've got another one here. Again, HB from Papermatic. How was that Papermate? The one that I use at the moment is this one. This was a freebie from Cult Pens. And you know it's a pencil because it says on it, this is a pencil. So I do have pencils handy. Don't use them very often, but it's always nice to know they're there. Let's pop them back. Have you ever drawn with 3 pens at the same time? No, I'm not a drawer, so I've never tried it. I will make a note, though. You know, I'm quite happy to experiment, so I've made a note to think about what I can do with that. Horace, not a fan of pencils in this chat. Fancy pencil chat is banned. Milk Carton 1, which country am I from? So I grew up in the UK, in England. And I think I've told this story before. I lived in England, never been to Wales, never been to Ireland, been to Scotland twice, but both of them I was literally in Scotland for about 3 hours. So originally from the UK, I lived in various parts of the UK. So I grew up in a town called Scarborough. I then went to university in, I think it's a city now, it was a town at the time called Middlesbrough. Then obviously I got a job, so I lived in a place called Telford, which is not far from Wolverhampton and Birmingham. I moved from there to a place called Gloucester, an ancient city. You got lovely ancient things, really nice. Gloucester Cathedral's absolutely superb. where we lived was actually right on the edge of Gloucester, and out the front window we could see the Cotswolds. From there, I moved to, well, I'll say London. It was a place called Mitcham, which is in Surrey, one of the suburbs of London. From there, I moved back to Yorkshire. I moved to a little town, a market town called Selby. Had an ancient abbey. I like historical things. And then about, I can't remember now, it was 2005 or 2007. I can never get it right. We moved to Australia, initially to Melbourne. Lived in Melbourne for about 6 years, then moved over here to Western Australia. Blonde Scales 1, I've been to the Canadian side of Niagara Falls. You're welcome here, Garry. Windsor is across the US-Canada border, where Detroit, Michigan is our US neighbouring city. I would love to go to one of the big pen shows that they have in the States. Won't be for a long, long time, though. It's one heck of a journey. It's not a journey you can make for just a weekend. But yeah, I would eventually like to go to that. Creamy J, I sampled a ballpoint. Can't talk today. I sampled a ballpoint in the town of Grudley in South Africa. It had so much ink. Would love to try a ballpoint that lasted the same. Yeah, none of my pens are from South. Have I got anything from South Africa here? My sister-in-law used to have a holiday home in Cape Town, so we used to go to Cape Town quite a lot. Again, it was when we were in the UK, it was about an 11-hour flight, so it was quite a journey. Horace, yeah, that's my wedding ring. Again, I think I told this story a while ago. It's yellow gold and white gold. I loved the Stephen Donaldson. God, do you know my poor old brain? I loved the Stephen Donaldson books. Thomas Covenant, the white gold wielder. So I wanted white gold when I got married. Been married now, 20. I think it'll be 28 years this year. Or is it 20? No, 28 years next year. Dear, isn't that part of the falls breathtaking? I've never been to the States, but there's one of the channels I follow called Becky and Chris, and they have a helicopter, and they did be about a year ago now. I can still remember watching it, a video where they actually took the helicopter and they flew over and around Niagara Falls. Creamy J, did you know Jaws is based off a road fountain pen? Teresa, so asking Horace to stop. Blonde Scales 1, that's a huge amount of water going over. Now, did I remember rightly that it does occasionally freeze up? That'd be interesting to see if it was actually frozen. Blonde Scales 1, yes, but very impressive. Horace, I would leave my wife to watch a lot. Okay. I don't know how to answer that one. I'm just talking about pens. Horace, I'm handling... Oh, gosh, we've still got loads of comments. I'm handling my Pen 45, P45. So Horace, I'm guessing, is in the UK. Glad you liked it, Blonde Scales 1. Visited the area in February. If you don't have the money for a Pinida pen filler, you could use a 4 or 6 inch piece of clear rubber tubing over your pen. That's a good tip. That fits onto the grip, pour in the ink and run the vac rod to fill fully. Dear is so with the time. So we got a few people there. The best pen is the one in your hand. Yep, absolutely with that. Teresa, not seeing any buffering, so hopefully it's just on my preview. Dear, about my app, yeah, I will. It might be another, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Why I'm saying that is I'm in the middle of doing some work on it. So iOS 17 will be coming out, I would guess, in the next week to 10 days. There's a big Apple announcement on Tuesday where they'll be announcing this year's new iPhones. And generally, when they do that, a few days later, they release iOS 17. I have been testing that for quite a while. later on, I would guess another month or two, will be Mac OS Sonoma, which is the newer version of the Mac OS operating system. So I've been adapting the app for those. So yeah, we'll do that. I say won't be for a few weeks. Blonde Scales 1. Yeah, no, Bruffin, we are very, very chatty. The Twisby stub is pretty smooth. Yeah, I say if I get another Eco, that's what I'm going to get. Blonde Scales 1. Need to ink up my Metro stub and practice with it. I've been getting quite into stub nibs lately. I've got a number now of 1.1s. Blonde Scales 1, like the Coat Pen's pencil. Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I just love that little statement. This is a pencil. Milk Carton 1. Maybe you should visit Penshaw Monument. BJ, there's 19 in the chat and 3 thumbs up. Get those going. Love this chat, so wholesome. Yeah, I'd just like to have a bit of, chat and have fun. Horace, I didn't have one. I'm not. I'm an antisocial person. That might be the best way to put it. So yeah, didn't even bother with one. It wasn't something that was even remotely interested to me. Could you stand on a pen without falling off? I wouldn't even think of standing on a pen. If I did that, I'd break it. I'm a fairly chunky person. What's your day job? What's your night job? Unfortunately, Horace, I'm unemployed. My last job, I worked for a company called IBM. You may have heard of it. But I got made redundant. I'm talking quite a lot of years ago. And because of my age, can't get a job to save my life, which is a shame because, I've got a lot to offer. Dia, thanks for the information about the app. Simply Orbs, yeah. iOS and Mac, yeah. I'm iOS. I've just hit my camera. I'm Mac all the way, Apple all the way through. So I've got my iPhones. I've got on here. I've got actually 2 iPads running at the moment. I've got one iPad here, which is where you can. Let me just. There you are. On there, I'm running software which controls which camera that we're seeing. I've got an iPad Pro, which is off to my side at the moment, actually not doing anything. I often have previews on there. Then I'm sat here with an M1 MacBook Pro, which has got everything else running. To my side, I've got 2018 Mac Mini. I have Apple TV. I've got my Apple Watch. Everything's Apple in this house. I once splashed my entire monthly pay packet on a pristine pen, and I've never looked back since. I don't know if I say maybe I'm just a bit tight. I mean, yes, I know I've got some expensive pens, but these are mainly paid for by the little bit of revenue that I get from YouTube, so I can save that up to get those. Did you hear about the man who swam the River Tyne in a rollerball pen? I think they're brave to get in the River Tyne, to be honest. Horace, what did I do at IBM? So I had this really posh sounding title. I was a delivery project executive. So essentially, I ran a number of client accounts where I had numerous projects. Because of the niche here, so my accounts ranged from Perth all the way up to Darwin, which you think when you say all the way up, it's a 6-hour flight. So I had quite a wide range. Subscribed, I've learned so much about pens and the wholesome 6-foot plug. Simply Auto, I knew I like you. Not only a fountain pen lover, but an Apple lover. Yeah, I first used an Apple computer. Well, first Apple product I had was an iPod. Up to then, I used Windows laptops. But what I was finding with Windows laptops is I was having to replace them every 18 months because I used them so heavily and they would just lose power so much. And then I'm going to say now, be about 15 years ago, I got my first Mac. And that was a MacBook 17-inch, the old big ones. You can actually see my phone here where I keep hitting it. That was, about then. And since, so that ended up, it was too big to carry around. So I used that as a desktop replacement. From there, I got the original MacBook Air. Used them both for a lot of years. I then got a Mac Mini to replace the laptop. Bought another MacBook Air a while back. In fact, a while back, 2012, I bought the second MacBook Air. Used that all the way through till last year, where because of the videos that I was doing, I was finding that there just wasn't enough time. It was just, too slow. So that's why I begged, stealed and borrowed and got scraped together enough to upgrade. Horace read an article the other night at 4 a.m. about a magic pen. Yeah. I move my hands because I just don't know what to do with them, Horace. No, I don't think it does that. Linux OS users here. Yeah, I do have. Actually, my last Windows laptop that I had from all them years ago, I did install a variant of Linux on there. I think it was Mandrake at the time. Horace, don't be stupid. Right. Let's move on over and we'll look at the pens I've been using this week. So let's move over to the iPhone camera. So these are the pens I've been using this week. There we are. So we'll start and see if I can remember which ones have still got ink in and what ink is in them. Well, that bit's easy. I've got a script, but I can't remember which ones have still got ink in. So we've got here a Jinhao. This must be one that's out of ink. I've got a number which are out of ink. Yeah. I should make a note on my script to say which ones haven't got any ink in it. So that was a that was a Jinhao 100 Centennial that I emptied out. So from last week, when I did my first impressions of this is a Mahjong M400 with a medium nib. The ink in here is by Diamine and it's Aqua Lagoon. Quite a nice ink this, I like this ink. And this pen, because I think it's important we know how much pens are, because it does help if you're thinking, oh, I might get one. It's about 34 Aussie dollars. My next pen, I did fetch this out a bit earlier, TWSBI Diamond 580. Love this pen, it's so nice. This has got a broad nib. Diamond 580. That's got a broad nib. The ink on here is where is it? There we go. De Atramentis. Hopefully I pronounced that right. It's cherry. Lovely colour of this ink, and in the bottle when you smell it, it actually does smell of cherries. It's a real nice smell. You don't get that though once you put it on paper. Another pen that's empty. This was the Pen BBS 308 in Mojito. It's got a fine nib on that. This is a nice pen. You'll hear more about these in I think Friday, because that's in my halftime report. Let me just double check. Yep, Friday. Next up, Hongdian. This is the N8 Flying Feathers. So we've got, I didn't put the price of the 580. The 580, $85. This is all my prices, I quote, they're in Aussie dollars. So Hongdian N8, a medium nib. The ink in here by Diamine, it's Stargazer. I'm risking it having this ink in this pen because it's a sheening and a shimmering ink. Not sure if you can see that yet. I'll see if it dries and shows anything. So that's a Hongdian N8, and that was whopping 32 Aussie dollars. Next up, we've got a pretty pen. This is the Just Turnings. This is the Enceladus in Brooks Blanc's Golden Blue Jay. So we've got a Just Turnings, So this is a maker, based in Brisbane here in Australia. He called this model Enceladus. And the ink is by Robert Oster, which is an Australian ink maker. Robert Oster, and it's Tranquility. Gorgeous green ink, this. This pen, handmade, so, you know, you are talking 185 Aussie dollars. It's not a cheap pen. The final pen I've been using this week. This is a Sailor Pro Gear Slim. This is in blue-green nebula. Absolutely. Let me try and get that in the camera. That does help, doesn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. Bit small, so I have to use this posted. Sailor Pro Gear Slim. And the ink in here is by Diamine. And it's Aurora Borealis. Another expensive pen. When I got it, it was 224 Aussie dollars. I think it's substantially more than that now. Then I say today's pen. This is the Waterman Carene. It's got a medium nib. The Sailor had a broad. The Just Turnings had a broad. Forgot to put them on. The ink is by Diamine. And it's Earl Grey. This is a damned expensive pen. It's the best way to put it. I priced it up to buy it now 400 Aussie dollars. I didn't pay that much. I think I paid about 266. But if I was to replace it, $400, a lot of money. The other thing that I've been doing this week, I'm going to fetch this next couple of things in. I had to change the paper that I use for my daily writing. So I've gone for this. This is actually a cheaper from, I think it was Big W. It's an A5 notebook, 200 pages, 55 GSM, 7mm ruled. I thought it was going to be really, really bad paper. And I was really surprised by it. It was about $2, you know. But this is the front page. I'll just show you. So this is here writing with the Hondian N8 and Diamine Stargazer. Not seeing anything coming through. Robert Oster Tranquility. Now, what I found with this...
Not sure I understand.
Damned Siri. I will talk about this more in my halftime report on Friday. But on this paper, this nib just did not like it. And it's the first time I've seen that. All the other ones it's liked. So this is something I need to look at. Here's somebody was asking the other week. This is my blotting paper that I keep in with them. So it's a cheaper notebook, but I don't seem to get a lot showing through. It seems to be performing really well, especially when consider, you know, it was $2. So I thought I'd fetch that in. I've also had a couple of deliveries this week. Let's move that out of the way. I'll be doing some brain's gone dead again. I'll be doing some first impressions videos. This one we're getting recorded during the week. It'll come out later on this month. This is another Just Turnings pen. So if I open the box, we've got this gorgeous here, this kimono that it comes in. And then let me just ease this out. So this is a Just Turnings. It's actually, well, the model he calls is Mimas. And it's a blank that he's made himself. He calls it Black Copper. Just look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Very, very nice. I'm still debating what ink to put in there. I want to, if possible, put an Australian ink in initially. But I'm still working on that. I'll be filming the first impressions on Wednesday. And that'll come out later on this month. Just pop that one away. Pop that to one side. The other pen that came this week, both of them actually arrived on Friday. This is a pen by Pens by Casey. I ordered this a few weeks ago. I'm just going to open this up. A very nice box, really well presented. So what we've got here is a pens by Casey. I'm going to show you this. I've just moved the mic, sorry if you wondered what the noise was. Once this video is finished, or once the live stream's finished, this will be handed to my wife, and I won't see it again till Christmas because we've decided it's so nice it's going to be a Christmas present. This is a Pens by Casey handmade pen. The brown part is an Australian wood called Gidgee. Then it's got this gorgeous green resin. He calls it an after dinner. I can really see that. This is such a beautiful pen. I'm not going to say upset, but yeah, when it gets put away, I'm going to have to wait nearly 3 months before I can use it again. So this is it. This is the last time I'll be seeing it for about 3 months. So that's going to be going away now. I'll switch over to the camera. There we go. We're back on the laptop. So that's the pens that I've been using this week. Let me just go through loads of comments again. I may be skipping very quickly through some of these. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I like to give as many people a chance. I like to be, but sometimes we do need to take extreme actions. Horace saying he's not a troll. Absolutely. Let me just see if I can work out how to do it. I don't know. I'll have a look in a second. We'll go through these, then I'll... BJ, nice red ink. Yeah, that Diatramentis ink is really pretty. Loads of shading coming through in it. Teresa just got a Jinhao 100 in sky blue, and it's so pretty and writes so well. Yep, absolutely with you. I love my Jinhao 100s. There is a video coming out. Oh, I want to say, I think it's no, it's not. Let me just look. It's actually Sunday of next week where there's a Jinhao 100 in there. I love Jinhao 100. It's so nice. Creamy J, how many pens do I have? Last count, about 120, but most of them, they are under $10, got loads of cheap pens. Dia, the Diamond 580 and the Diatramentis Cherry are wonderful. They're absolutely gorgeous, and that broad nib, so juicy, writes really well. Horace, you prefer cheap biro? Well, it's down to you. Marilyn, welcome. Hi. We've got a number of people then saying hello. Just going to skip over those. Select their name, tap on it, and you can get the option to block their comments so they don't have to see them. Okay, I will give that a try in a second. Some more hellos. So I'm just skipping over the hellos. Gonna need a monitor. Yeah, this is a problem that I find. I'm very good at unitasking, not very good at multitasking. So although I can see comments coming in, I don't actually see them until I get to them. BJ, that just turned his pen. Wow, it is absolutely gorgeous. I'm really looking forward to using that. And I said, the guy makes it himself, and he put a photo up on Instagram with that pen, and it wasn't the pen, it was actually just the block of the raw stuff of the raw blank. Oh, I thought that's nice, and I was straight onto him, and within like 15 minutes I said, yeah, I want it. Really fast turnaround. He was less than 2 weeks from saying I like it to it arriving. Absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to get it inked up. The nib on there, I actually went for a medium nib, which is unusual for me, but it's a medium Yoho nib. I've got a number of other Yoho nibs, so it's easy to swap if I want to. BJ, yeah, I did think about ancient copper. I've also got vintage copper as well, but I said the main thing is I'd like to use an Australian ink. So looking at what I've got, I'm thinking what I'm going to do is use a Robert Oster terracotta. I think that might be all right. Yep, so thanks for the tip. Blonde Skills, yeah, nice looking Christmas gift. I say it wasn't originally purchased for that, but when we saw it, it was just a case of, look, it's so nice. And, you know, although I know I've said this before, you know, when I do the ink event this year, there's a gift each day. That will be the gift for day 25, and I know what it is. I just can't wait. I mean, the thought of it being in the house and having to wait all that time, it's going to really weigh on my poor brain. One needs immense strength to part with that piece of art. Absolutely right there. It does. But it also just be something to look forward to. BJ, definitely going to pick up Diatramentis Cherry. Yeah, it's a really nice. I see it's even the scent. Never tried the scented ink. The scent, I only notice the scent when it's in the bottle. Once I've got into the pen, you know, I don't really notice it. And I have tried writing and sniffing it. I bet if people were here looking, you'd be thinking, oh, you're a bit of a weirdo sniffing your paper. But never mind. Okay, so that's gone through all those. So this week's done. Reaching for my script again. Last week's videos. So Sunday of last week, that was the M400 unboxing. Very nice pen. I may get another one. I might get the, I think there was like a yellowy orange. That looked nice. I like, what I'm tending to do now when I buy my pens is I'm going for pens that look nice. Obviously, they've got to write, but I'm not going for like certain brands. I just look at the pens and it's a case of, yeah, I like the look of that. The video came out on Tuesday. Did really, really well. That's what I called my follow-on pens. So there was top 5 pens from my collection that, you know, once someone's had the first 3 or 4 pens and really getting into it, they're the ones I would suggest they might want to get. Friday's video was a combination. It wasn't a combination, it was a comparison. First 3 letters are the same. Comparison of Diamine, Red Dragon and Spiced Apple. Really interesting, and generated a number of suggestions for other comparisons. So I have made a note, haven't done it yet. I'm not sure when I'll schedule it in. It could be a few months to do a comparison between Red Dragon, Ox Blood and Writer's Blood. I think that would be quite an interesting comparison. And then on my Tricky Little Questions video yesterday, that was, why is blood red? Now, I know it was something learned about in school, so I had a rough idea, but it was nice to just dig in a little bit into a bit more detail. Videos coming up this week. So today's video, if you're a member of the channel, you would already have access to this. What I do with most of my videos is I release them to members about 2 days before they actually go out to the general public. So today's video, which will be, 4 o'clock this afternoon. So how long is that? Got to do maths? No, 2 o'clock this afternoon, so 4.5 hours time. September's inked pens. So what I do there is I've gone through my inked pen case, and we just have a quick look at each pen, do a quick writing sample with each of them. So it's one of my longer videos, but we cover an awful lot of pens. On Tuesday, the video will be similar to last week's follow-on pens. So it's like next level pens, but from China, or mainland China. So again, my top 5 pens that I've got in my collection. One of the things I'm liking with these follow-on pen videos, same with my initial pen videos, is getting suggestions from people of other pens to try. So that's letting me add them to my to-buy list. So eventually I'll be able to get them. Friday, that will be my half-time report. Don't know what will be in it yet. I haven't even started to script it. That will be getting filmed on Wednesday. It'll go out to members on Wednesday and then go out to everybody else on Friday. On Tricky Little Questions next Saturday, that will be a quiz. So once a month I do a quiz. Then later on each month I then do a photo quiz, but it's an actual quiz. So it's a true and false quiz. 10 questions. I love doing them. They let me explore a lot. I love doing that Tricky Little Questions ones because it lets me grow my own knowledge by expanding into things. You know, when I'm researching it, I'll put something to Google, see something and go down a number of trees before I find the question that I'm going to ask. And then next Sunday is a video of some pens that have been gifted. Very, very generous gentleman sent me some pens. I think I showed them very briefly last week. I filmed the video with them at the moment now, and that'll be coming out Sunday next week. I'll tell you, I was absolutely gobsmacked when they arrived. Right, I'm going to head back to the comments just to see there's a couple in there. Marilyn, Diamond ink vent calendars have some scented inks and chroma shading inks. Is it Pick Me Up? I think that was a scented ink. Absolutely love that. I love the colour of it as well. I've done, for the last 2 years, I've done the ink vent calendars. So, and what I do is during that ink vent calendars, I do a video a day where I look at them. So I try to make it different than what other reviewers are doing. So I obviously show the calendar. I take the bottle out. I do a swatch. I do a quick writing sample. Then whilst they're drying, I also do a quick chromatography, but I do that off screen. Whilst that's all drying, I then fetch in just a normal advent calendar. The first year it was quite good because it was a Roku, a Star Wars or Mandalorian calendar. Last year's there was no character ones apart from little kids ones, so it was just a standard one. But we'll be doing that again this year, so we'll be getting a proper advent calendar. And then my wife also gives me a gift each day, which she either wraps up or puts in a bag. All stationery related. I've got an idea what some of them are, but others I've got no idea. So that's worth trying. So yeah, I love the ink vent stuff, and the inks, very, very nice. And now I've got these ink misers coming, so they should hopefully arrive this week. I'll be able to use them more, because the problem with the inks, I haven't been able to really use them because my pens don't fit in. So Teresa, in that gifted pens, that's the one coming out on Sunday of next week. One of the pens in there was a Jinhao 100. BJ, Oxblood and Red Dragon are my two favourites. Oxblood may very well be my favourite ink colour as of yet. Yeah, I quite like Red Dragon. I really do like Spiced Apple. That was my favourite ink from last year's ink vent. The only problem that I've got with Spiced Apple is I do find the shimmer blots up a lot of my pens. Marilyn also loves Red Dragon. Teresa are being released. Let me just see. Yeah, so it was just a gift. It's not a brand new colour. I'm hopefully, if I can sweet talk the wife, I might get another one in next, or order another one next time I look on AliExpress. Dia, recommend trying the Lamy Aeon. Lamy AION. Oh, I don't know what I've just done. I've just hit something with my mouse. Let me see if I can get back. Hopefully it won't have affected the stream. There we are. The only Lamy pens I've got at the moment is a Safari and an AL Star. So yeah, I'll look at that. I do keep looking at the Lamy 2000s. And I don't know what it is. There's just something about them. They just don't grab me. Marilyn got gifted a bottle of Writer's Blood. It's very scab coloured. Yeah, I can see actually where you're coming from there. The one thing I do find with Writer's Blood, it's just so wet. It really is. Marilyn will also be doing Diamond Ink Vent. I think this is one of the nice things is, and this is why I do the ink vent the way I do it, is all these different reviewers doing them slightly different, so you can get a really good picture. So like last year with in the ink vent, I was watching 3 or 4 different ones each day, even though I've done one myself, because you get different viewpoints and you get to feel and learn more about the ink. I think that's a brilliant idea. Teresa loves Red Dragon. BJ, if Oxblood had some permanence in it, would be my one ink. Chris Robinson's ordered the ink vent. I've got to be honest, I haven't actually ordered it yet. I need to get on it. The reason why I've been doing that is I was originally intending to order it from Cult Pens in the UK, but to get free shipping, you need to spend over 210 Aussie dollars, and the calendar's 170. So I've been looking for things to add in. I know they're not released till sometime in, is it even late October? So I'm not overly worried at the moment, but yeah, I do need to pull my finger out and find something else. Chris Robinson, do people try all the inks on the day they get the pack? It will be pretty hard to resist. I know, is it Mike Matheson, Ink Dependence? His wife tries them all out. She does a separate video when they get them, but he doesn't. He waits and he does them like on the day of release. So I think I can understand where they're coming from. What I do is, I'm going to be honest, I pre-record my videos. So the video of the 1st of December will not be going out on the 1st of December. I've actually scheduled it. I'll fetch up my recording schedule to show you. Let me just get into the right app. So I know I've shown this. I don't mind showing this. I've shown this a few times. So let's go to switch over to the screen. This is Notion. This is where I plan my videos. So I'm looking here at the recording calendar. So this is the date I record them. Unfortunately, I don't know why we've gone back to July. So my first Inkvent calendar, I'll be filming them actually on the 13th of November. I'll be filming the first 3 days. Then, twice a week I record, so I'll be doing 3 each day that I record in November. So it is done a bit early. I don't talk about them until the day of release. I won't put them up until the day of release. Even for members, I won't be putting them up early Even for members, I won't put them up early. It's just pure convenience that I record them early. You never know what's going to happen. And I'd rather have them all pre-recorded and be able to go out than miss days because of something come up. Blonde Scales 1 pre-recorded pre-ordered the Inkvent. Marilyn, Fountain Pen Revolution Himalaya for all the shimmer inks, or a Noodles Conrad with a Fountain Pen Revolution Ultraflex. That's actually a good idea. I don't have a Himalaya, but I like the idea. Have a dedicated pen for shimmer inks. Then I've actually got a good one which I might try. I've got a Ranga Santa. It's red and white. It's got a 1.1 stub nib on, and when I had the spiced apple in there, it looked really nice. So I might try that. And the other thing beautiful with it, it's easy to pull apart to clean. BJ, pretty much keep shimmer inks in my eco because it can be fully disassembled. Marilyn, can't stand the feel of the Climby 2000. It feels scratchy. My advice is to try one of the Jinhao cheap ones, like the 2000, to see if you like the feel of it because it's so weird. I do have a Keiko Edge, which is made with Macrolon. Very, very similar shape as well to the to the Lamy. Yeah, as I said, never really grabbed me. I did watch, was it last week or the week before, Hemingway Jones, where he'd been sent a Lamy 2000. That was quite interesting. And I can't wait to see the follow-on video he does. Marilyn Darling, yeah, Jinhao 80. Somebody else recommended that on one of my videos overnight. So I've added that to my list. And I will be getting that added. Chris, Pulp Addiction in Melbourne, do $169. To be honest, Chris, I think that's going to be where I end up getting it from. Again, I may try and find something else to add in. The way that YouTube works is YouTube pay roughly the 25th or 26th of each month, and I'm due a payment this month. So when that money comes in, that's chances are is the Inkvent. That's what I'll order. I was going to order another pen, but that can wait. I want to get that Inkvent at least ordered so I know it will be here. Blonde Scales 1. Enjoyed my Inkvent videos. And the most plus, I discovered the Serendipity. Yep, I love the Serendipity. There it is. This is Serendipity dip pen. It's got a broad Yoho nib in it. Very easy to take apart. So I can take this apart between inks to give it a good clean. He says taking it apart and slots back in easy. The guy's not making them anymore, which is such a shame. I think it was James Fenris over, I think he's in Canberra. But I know not long ago he announced he wasn't going to be making them anymore. It's a shame, it's a lovely pen. I use the Lamy nibs on the Jinhao 80s myself. BJ, Lamy keyed feeds drives me nuts. Can't adjust the nib. Yeah, I don't mind the All-Star, but that Lamy Safari, I don't know what it is, I just don't get on with. Ricardo, I like my Lamy 2000 medium nib, very wet, smooth as glass, and is always inked with me. The Ion is a metal pen, heavier and a thicker section. I think I'd get on quite well with the Ion. I do like weightier pens, and I like thicker pens. That's why I know I brought this out earlier. This Wrangler Model 5, it's a beast. It's nice, it's girthy, it's so comfortable to use. And for all its size, it's actually not that heavy. Chris, Jinhao 80, Lamy 2000 with a standard Lamy nib is pretty good. Oh, I'm almost out of my peppermint tea. Marilyn, pens with a nib housing don't really do well with shimmer inks. I don't know what is, but for fountain pen, Himalaya doesn't have the housing, and the Conrad doesn't have the housing. TWSBI also doesn't have housing. So that might be maybe that's an excuse I can use to get another TWSBI Eco, maybe with a stub nib. I could maybe tie that in with the order from Pulp Addiction, see if I can get free shipping somehow. I'll have to have a think about that. Dia, agree the Ion is thicker and heavier, but I found it to be much more comfortable to hold unposted than the 2000. Yeah, I do like them thicker and heavier pens. Hondian make a dip pen that converts to a fountain pen. Just got one but haven't tried it out. Be interesting to know how you're going with that, Teresa. I'll say I've got the one. It'd be handy to have another one. You know, the only other dip I've got, the nib is absolutely balked on it. It's rusted. This is a Kaweco dip pen. I might have to see if I can try a different nib in it. It was a Flex, and I just could not get on with it. And dear, the Ion also has a comfortable length. So I'll leave a few seconds whilst we see if there's any more comments. So my book reading that we're doing this week, I've finished Weird Sisters eventually. So Weird Sisters is a Terry Pratchett book. I think it's the 6th book, focusing a lot more on the witches, so on Granny Weatherwatch, Nanny Ogg, and Magrat. I've got to be honest, out of the whole of the Discworld, the 3 characters that I really like. The first one's Death. I know it's a bit of weird, but I think he's such a really funny character. The second one is Granny Weatherwatch. She's just absolutely brilliant, as if everybody's so frightened of her. So I was just moving the mic out so it was covering my face too much. And then the third one is Nanny Ogg. Absolutely, I think she's so brilliant. I think the way she's just, oh yeah, whatever. I think it's awesome. But yeah, they're my 3 favourite characters. So I finished that. And what I have started, I'm just going to fetch it because I've actually got the hardback. I've now started, let me see if I can get this right, The Pillars of Creation by Terry Goodkind. There we go. Only about 50 pages into it. I've only had the one session this week reading it. I've had a bit of a rough night. So far, it's got a different lead character. Is it a different? I can never remember. Is it protagonist? I can never remember what they call them. It's really interesting. Quite enjoyed it so far to have a different character. One of the things I've been struggling with the Terry Goodkind books is I just find the way that everything's always going wrong for the 2 main characters, Richard and Kaelin. It's getting to the stage where I'm just finding it boring. But I say, hopefully, because it's fetching some more characters, might not be too bad. So back to the comments. Marilyn, spring steel nibs are meant to be disposable. Yeah, I know when I got it, I think they said 3 months. I say I've just never bothered with it. I'll have to pull it out and see if I can get something else in there. Teresa, there's a brand new TWSBI Eco. I know, I've been looking at this indigo bronze one. It's nice. I like the look of it. I don't know, because it's that blue. I suppose it would actually work quite well with things, with a lot of my blue ink. So yeah, that might be worth thinking about. Chris, Magrat as a Discworld character does grow on you. Yeah. The other one I liked in that book was The Fool, who I believe is who she ends up marrying. I thought he was really good. You know, he was a fool who didn't want to be a fool. He knew he shouldn't be a fool. BJ, Pilot, Kakuno, Metro, Explorer, etc. nibs might fit in a nib holder. I actually might try, I wonder if it'll take it. I might try off them Bowers that I showed earlier. I might try taking the nib off one of those and putting on there. That might be worth giving it a try. Ricardo agreed the Ion is comfortable. Yep, definitely is. Blonde Skills, you'll be getting dirty looks soon. Yeah, I just looked at my watch and thought, oh dear, the wife will be coming through shortly. So I'll leave it just a minute or so in case there's any additional comments come through. Whilst I'm doing that, I'll thank you all for your time. I love doing these. I say I'm almost out of tea, so it's worth finishing up because I can feel my voice going. Thank you all for your time. So, not seeing any. Oh, yeah, one more comment. Dia, thanks for another great broadcast. Yeah, it's been brilliant. I love the way that we're building up this chat in here. To me, it's awesome. I wish we could somehow get everybody, you know, if not on video, on audio. But yeah, thank you all. I love this. I love doing these, which is why they end up, you know, like hour and 20 minutes today. So thank you all. Hope you have a glorious weekend. Hope you have a glorious week.